This is the WRMN Morning Show with Susie C. and Elliot. Sharp minds, quick wit, and absolutely no snooze button required. It's news, games, guests, and plenty of did they really just say that?
Good morning. It is Monday. You know, it doesn't feel like a Monday. Welcome back to the WRMN Morning Show with me, your host, Susie C., and my illustrious co-host and new bartender, Elliot, the L-Train Serrano. Good morning, El. And we are joined by two ravishing gentlemen. Look at these guys. I'm a lucky girl. Samantha, if you're listening, I'm a lucky girl, at least for the next half hour.
For the next half hour. Yes, we're joined by David Tease and his buddy John Payne, who are going to be premiering a new show on WRMN Sunday mornings. Mm-hmm. And as I was teasing before at the last half hour with all the sports programming that we have here on WRMN, Big Top Sports in the evenings, On the Rise, and The Truth About Chicago Sports. And with the new NFL football season kicking off within the week, and the Chicago Bears now playing on WRMN Radio, what's going on with you, Mr. Tease?
Oh, getting ready for football season. Great game the other night with Kansas City and the Bears.
Yeah, babe, that was Tyson Bagent.
I thought they were going to play their second and third string, but we got to see a little bit of Mahomes and Williams.
That was kind of fun, but again, it's a preseason, so yeah.
Yeah.
Stop saying that.
Because it doesn't help you any if your top guys get hurt in a preseason game.
But they didn't get hurt. It was just good to watch.
That we know of.
We're going to break up over this preseason stuff.
Here we go. No, you're going to have to get Jimmy Vaselli to do the divorce.
Well, apparently, I just found out I'm on a fantasy football team with Elliot. So, Elliot, I can't pick the guys with the cutest football pants.
You know what we're going to do?
The cutest football pants and my favorite colors on their jerseys.
We're getting ahead of ourselves here. Why don't we talk about why that's happening? So tell us about this show that you and John are going to be hosting on Sundays.
Well, John Payne and me will be talking fantasy football. We are both fantasy footballers. John, how long have you been in fantasy football for?
Since '87.
And I've been in since a couple of years after that, 2 years after that. Yeah, so we've been in there since that long when fantasy football came out. We're going to be doing this interactive. We're going to have people call in. We are all about, if you can't figure out who to start or who to sit or if you should trade this guy or should not trade this guy, we're here. Call us. We will answer your questions because it's a big decision before game time to who to start and who not to start. And when you got a couple good guys telling you a good decision, you could call in or text in or anything, and John and I will give you advice.
So it's called Fantasy Football Blitz. It's going to be on Sunday mornings on WRMN before the Bears games, or on days when the Bears aren't playing. It'll be on Sunday mornings. Now, it's my understanding that you and John are like fantasy football rivals, right? I mean, you're wearing a Philadelphia Eagles jersey right now for folks who are watching on the YouTube. If you're not watching on the YouTube, David Tease is sitting wearing a Jalen Hurts football jersey right now. And I was giving you a little bit of grief about it in the beginning, but you did say you were wearing it for a reason.
Well, I am a Bears fan, diehard, but in fantasy football, and John can even say this too, right? Once you get a guy on your team is good, you actually become his biggest fan because he's helping your team out, right?
Absolutely. When you draft them when they're young, you kind of watch them develop and grow, and when they're something,
yeah,
it's exciting.
And one of the things is he's a big trade addict. He loves to make trades. He's in fantasy football. He's in fantasy baseball. He's in a lot of leagues, so he's a junkie. He's a football, baseball junkie, but he wants Jalen Hurts from my team, and he's always making me trade offers for him. And the answer is, where's your no button?
I think last...
and this is the thing about it is I need one of these, so when he calls me up for a trade, I'll go, no.
Nice.
Well, I'd want to point out this is only an hour show, and Dave will probably talk about himself for the first half hour. So we'll have about a half an hour of fantasy questions and insight and analysis.
Yeah.
Well, Derek
I
says,
can see
what's
that.
with the ugly Eagles jersey? And he says, what position do you draft first?
Boy, I tell
a
you
good
what, depends on the league and your scoring, but running back seems to be the hardest position
it
to
is.
fill.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
okay.
It really is because they go down so quick.
Huh.
Depends on what kind of league and what kind of scoring method you're using.
Right.
But quarterbacks tend to go a little bit later. In our league, they go quick because based on our scoring methods. But
Okay, I used to be in a PPR league,
Yeah.
and with all the writers from the Trib, all the sports guys, and I'm telling you, I was telling David this before. It brings out an ugly side of me. I get incredibly competitive.
oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
I obsess over my rosters, and I'm constantly keeping scores. Da da da. Da. But
fun with him.
yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Susie. You're gonna see that.
The ugly side, one ugly side of money.
But in our league, it was like the quarterbacks always went last. In fact, I would have the other guys in my league like give me a hard time going, you're taking your quarterback too soon, or you're taking your running back too soon. Because it's everything. It's wide receivers, wide receivers, wide receivers.
Well,
in the
PPR
beginning.
is a lot different. I mean, Jamar Chase and Amara St. Brown. I mean, obviously, in a PPR, those are the
Yeah.
guys you want at the top.
Yeah.
But and quarterbacks do go later. In our
Yeah.
league, it's a little bit different. Our league is a distance scoring,
Okay.
so you have to score a touchdown to get any points.
Okay.
No yardage.
No yardage at all, and it's based on distance of scoring.
I get.
So,
that one's-
and if a quarterback runs one in, they get double points. So when you got Jalen Hurts running 2 or 3 in a game, he can run 2 in a game, and it takes Mahomes 4 or 5 touchdown passes to equal the same amount.
I get that.
So it's a little bit a
Okay.
little bit different.
And
but-
just a question for those of you who aren't familiar with fantasy sports, not me, because of course I know everything. What is PPR league?
points per reception.
Thank you.
And there's so many different scoring methods. You know, I mean, there's rotisserie, there's PPR, there's
Wait,
non-PPR,
rotisserie?
I like rotisserie
there's,
chicken.
There's distance
Got
scoring,
excited.
I can go for
head
that.
to head. You know, there's just a lot of rules, and we'll just try to cover the.
Can you
basics.
combine head to head and rotisserie?
This is
not really.
G-rated. This is a G-rated show.
She's thinking of a Lady in the Tramp situation with a rotisserie chicken right now.
Now, John, we got one of our first questions today on the show, which was right there. What position do you draft
And
first?
that's why I asked
That's a
him.
good
I
question.
guess it depends on what kind of league you're in. It really does.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, if you're in a PPR league, Jamar Chase right now seems to be hands down the guy to go number 1.
Yeah.
And I would think Brown would probably be number 2. But I mean, you got Jamar Gibbs who catches a lot of balls as a running back. That's tough, you know.
Now, the thing about fantasy football that a lot of people might not realize is that not only is it very competitive, they have things like you have trophies on the line, bragging rights. Some are buy-in leagues. You know, you pay in and that pot at the end of the season goes to the winner. Do you guys play in one of those types of leagues?
Well, we do have John. Why don't you explain what we got for our trophy and how it goes for us?
Well, we have a fee that we charge every year, and then we pay out a first and a second every week. And at the end of the year, we charge waiver moves. After 10 free waiver moves, you get charged $5 a move. So all that money goes into the pot, and at the end of the year, that goes into the playoffs. 4 teams make the playoffs. We try to put the 4 best teams in one division from one year and the 4 worst in another division, and then the top 2 teams from each division make the playoffs. So you could be the number 3 or 4
So
scorer.
in other words, if I have one of the better teams, you punish me by putting me in with all the other good teams the
Correct.
following
Yeah.
year.
But then it gives the teams that are not so good their own division, and those top 2 teams make the playoffs. So it gives them some incentive, something to play for still too.
Reward them for being bad is what you're saying here. Now you're already getting me started.
I'm
here.
in the A league this year. He's in the B league.
Wow.
Yeah, I finished
man.
last on purpose last year so I could get Genty this year.
I was gonna say, you know, that there are ways you can play with it. Who was your starting quarterback last season?
I've got Mahomes, Herbert, and Tua.
Okay, so that's not bad. Although Tua ended up getting hurt
Right.
for half the season, he is coming back this year. I'm not expecting big numbers from Tua.
Miami has one of the easiest pass schedules in the NFL this year.
Yeah, but that's if Tua doesn't get knocked out again. I mean, once you get
100%.
a concussion, you're more likely to get another concussion. It
Absolutely.
kind of knocks you out.
And he's not a big guy,
No, he's not.
and he doesn't bounce.
Well, Yeah, that's his problem. What about you, Dave? Who are your starting quarterbacks? I know you have
My
Jalen
two
Hurts.
Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson.
Lamar. Oh, see, look at you stacking the.
And I got
deck
both
there.
jerseys.
He got Lamar Jackson in a gimme trade when I drafted him in the first year.
Really?
I didn't think he'd do much.
Ah.
And with a, you know.
Well, that explains the B League.
right, yeah, 100%.
Well, you probably wanted him to be a wide receiver like the rest of the NFL.
I
did.
just want to also point out that Dave's won this one time, and I've won it 27.
Oh, okay.
I do want to give him that,
Wow.
that quick jab right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
In case anybody doesn't know, we have been together for, God, way too long in our lives.
All
Really?
the 4 years, my wife used to babysit him actually till he was 16, and
Wow.
then all right.
I just
I'm just kidding.
16.
It was 15. But she tells me stories where he used to get up in the morning, he used to walk down the stairs backwards every day.
Like, tell me, how did your wife baby? You look younger than him.
Thank you.
Hey, wait a second here.
Thank you. I like where your head's at.
There we go.
Oh, boy.
They lived by each over on the east side of Elgin.
Yeah,
I think they lived behind my wife.
Yeah, we lived. Yeah, and her sisters were friends with my sister, and that's how we all got to know each other. And then we moved out to the west side where he lived out there.
All right.
And
So
now Samantha babysits you.
Yes.
yeah, there we go. The wife. Okay, so with not only will Fantasy Football Blitz be giving callers advice on their fantasy football picks, but we are going to have a WRMN Radio Fantasy Football League too,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys are going to be running it for us.
Well, so it will be all pretty much once Sonar gets it
Sonar
set up
gets
and
it
the
set
draft is
up.
done. It'll be pretty much running by itself.
By itself.
Mhm.
So why don't you, for folks who don't know generally how a fantasy football league works, mind you, I know a lot of teams they've already done their drafts and so on.
There are some going on right now.
Right. So there'll be some. How does it, like, let's say I'm a beginner and I get into a fantasy football draft. What is a good way to prepare for it? If I'm going into a draft and I'm a newbie and I might be with a bunch of other guys who've done it before, but I want to have a good time with it. What are some things that you would advise for first timers getting ready for a fantasy football draft?
Don't ask me. I came in first place once, second place a lot of times. Why don't you ask Mr. 27 there?
Mr. 27. No animosity here.
Well,
That's what the wife calls him. Yeah, Mr. 27. Wow.
Back in the day, you have to wait for the magazines to come out, but now you have the internet, so there's so much information out there that you just find the site that you like, and I like to go on 3 or 4 different sites.
I will say the CBS Sports Line, their worst advice every year.
Yeah.
I would follow them, and then I would follow their own recommendations on who to start each week. And when I lose, they would sit there 1 week. They're talking about how you got to start this one, and then right after the games are over. Well, the problem with starting that one was, okay, you said I should start them.
Well, we're going to do projections too. I wouldn't bet the house on our projections. It's just analysis that we do.
Right.
And just try to come up with the best thing. But I would go on the internet, look at the rankings at each position. It depends on what kind of scoring league you're going to use too. I mean, if you're doing a PPR league, look up PPR rankings. They're everywhere. And then, if you see 3 or 4 different rankings, then you kind of just set it up the way you want and how you feel. And it's always fun to have players you like too. It really is.
A lot of times people might be like, let's say you're in a particular town, and let's say you're a Bills fan, and you find yourself drafting all the Bills players. A lot of folks would do that here in Chicago. Oh, well, I like Caleb Williams. I'm going to draft Caleb Williams for my team, although he might not necessarily be the best quarterback in the NFL. They'd say, well, who do you think are some good local players that we should be looking for on our teams?
I think Adunze is going to have a good year this year. I think he'll come around. I'm worried about the Bears' running game. I'm not a big fan of Roschon. DeAndre Swift is a good back. I don't think he's a 20 or 25 carry back. So that's the only thing that concerns me with the Bears this year. The line looks good, but, it takes time for some cohesiveness.
Well, they still haven't figured out their left tackle.
Right. So, I mean, I will say this about fantasy football. I didn't know much about it when I got started back in '86, but what it does do when the Bears are over or if they've had a bad season, you still got your team. And every game means something. because either your opponent has somebody going, or you have somebody going, or your friends have somebody going, and of course, obviously you're going to root against them. But it's fun. It's a clean hobby. It's a frustrating hobby because you can watch 10 hours of football for 2 minutes of glory.
Oh, yeah. No, I had that happen. I've had that happen
I'm not going to
again.
say a comment, a statement.
G
at
show.
all.
G show.
Not a comment.
That's going to be the name of our team, Susie. 2 minutes of glory.
2 minutes of glory.
I'm gonna
10
leave that one
hours of
alone.
football for 2
2
minutes of glory.
glory.
That's about it, too.
Oh,
It really
baby.
it goes fast.
Come on, baby. The football's over. Time for your 2 minutes of glory.
I've always told my friends and my wife that when I drop, it's going to be on a Sunday from a gripper.
All right, so Susie C and I are going to have a team, and I've said I get way too over competitive. I'm telling the last time I was in the Survivor League with my buddies at the Trib, I ended up losing going into the championship game by 1 point, and I had all these points on my bench. I'd left all these points on my bench for whatever reason. And I was at that point I told Phil,
We're not going to do that.
Phil Thompson, who by the way is new Bears beat writer for the Tribune. I reached out to Phil. I told him, hey, if you want to come on WRMN and talk about the Bears, love to have you on. But he was our commissioner, and I told Phil, I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. This brings out the worst in me. So my strategy for this year is going to be this. First, No, I'm sorry. No. Well, it's going to be our strategy.
The
Yes.
cutest guys.
Okay,
The tightest pants.
Here's what we're gonna do. First, yes, and this is what. Tell me if I'm too far off, because I have actually seen some folks do fairly well in fantasy football, especially folks who don't know a lot about football, because you go in with no preconceived notions, and I've seen this all the time. People who go like, you know what? I like their jerseys. I'm gonna pick those folks because of their jerseys. Or I heard about this one, or I know that, or even completely randomly picking players. I'm going to say we're going to get a set of dice. We're going to number players, and I'm going to roll some dice, and whoever the number comes up on, that's who we're going to pick. And then Susie will go, okay, he's cute. We'll keep him, and go from there.
I like your strategy.
No.
Yeah, this is first place for us.
Bold strategy, Harper.
I will
Bold
say this,
strategy.
I'm going to have Dave draft for us, so if the experts on fantasy football blitz seem to fail and not win the league, I have somebody to blame but myself.
Well, we'll see, because again, there's this whole thing that we can overanalyze, right?
100%.
We overanalyze. We think, oh, this guy's going to be this guy's going to be that, and it doesn't. And then again, they call it beginner's luck, but again, there is a randomness to it, because if it was so easy to win in fantasy football, everybody would do it.
Right. And if you ever want to get into fantasy football, there's a lot of leagues out there you can get online that are free.
Yeah, just to practice it.
Just don't get on the ones that ask for fees, because some of those guys don't pay out. They take your money and run. There's a lot of fantasy football Facebook sites out there where guys talk trade and stuff like that are in leagues. A lot of them say, well, I didn't get my payout. I from the guy and all that stuff. So if you're curious about fantasy football, look it up. Look up the rules, the type of different leagues, and go online and join a free fantasy football and try it out once.
And do it for the fun, not necessarily because if you get all caught up again in, well, I want to win this so I can win this money, then mind you, I mean, that's what drives fantasy football now, right? I mean,
I'm going to download all the sites. All
you
the
can do
sites.
it. Oh, that's the thing. They were talking about, I was listening to it on sports radio this week, the whole thing with Kyle Tucker on the Cubs, that he had a hairline fracture in his hand. And he was slumping for a while, and they were saying, "Well, oh, wait a minute, he's been injured." And even Pat Murphy, the Milwaukee Brewers manager, even said, he looks like he's injured. Something's happening with him. So they brought up this whole thing, like in baseball, they don't have to divulge that kind of stuff. They don't have to put out there, well, it looks like so and so's hurt. This is what's happening there and there. Football, they want everything out there. If somebody's hurt, if they got an injury, any sort of thing, soft tissue, pulls, quads, all that stuff. Because why? Fantasy football and betting, because they want people who are betting on these games, especially in the fantasy football. And I'm going to tell you right now, the rise of fantasy football, you can point to fantasy football and the rise of it as why NFL, the NFL is as big as it is right now
Oh, 100%.
because of the gambling.
And so many women have got involved in it too now. So
Oh, yeah,
a lot of
Well,
women.
It's
Well,
brought
because
everybody-
of the-
little kids and everything. And honestly,
Well, because of Taylor Swift.
right.
And since it's fantasy, can we draft Walter Payton?
Well,
Don't do what I did. I got drunk
kidding.
at one of our drafts and drafted Sid Luckman when he wasn't even in the Bears. Yeah, it was
well, I don't know if that'd work in a PPR league.
no.
Even then, Sid
Yeah, I don't
Luckman.
think so.
And
Yeah,
honestly,
right.
most leagues
That's
are
probably
with
not
your
a
friends or your
guarantee.
colleagues.
Yeah.
So it's about bragging rights. And
Yes.
Money has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I mean, in our league, no one cares about the
No,
money.
we don't.
We just want the bragging rights.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of trash talk that goes on, right?
Absolutely.
And who's the biggest instigator on trash talking?
You.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, wait. If you could see my face on YouTube right now, you'd see how surprised I am. Like, seriously, that's a given.
I love to make everything fun and exciting, but as your question, how everybody gets involved in fantasy football, even NFL players are in fantasy football.
Yep.
That is hilarious. Now it's hilarious when you have NFL players talking about their rankings in fantasy football.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the only times when you hear NFL players talk about stuff outside of football, their rankings in fantasy football and their rankings in Madden.
Yeah,
Right.
When,
right.
when they're playing,
Yeah.
they're going, what? Wait, what? I'm an 89?
Yeah.
No way.
I should be a 94 at least.
Yeah, or 94,
right.
exactly.
At least that. Yeah.
So,
Right.
so those players are they're hearing that, and that's kind of affecting them. All right. So before we hit this break, when can we hear Fantasy Football Blitz, and what can we look forward to in the first episode?
Well, we're going to do it. Our first episode is going to be like a preseason for us. August 31st at 7 a.m. We'll be on for 1 hour, 7 to 8. And that's when it starts. So we're going to give a little preview, but it also gives you a heads up for the Thursday night Bears. No, wait a second. Sorry. The Dallas Eagles game is on Thursday night. Bears play on Monday night. So it gives us a little bit of a run for that Thursday night game. In
And
case there's
Friday
people-
night game.
And what?
Kansas City, San Diego, and Brazil.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you, NFL's everywhere right now. They've
Yeah.
decided.
Yeah, the Friday
You
night
know,
game.
it's
Yeah,
almost
Brazil.
getting to the point where, after 14 or 15 weeks, you've got games on Monday, Thursday, Saturday,
Yeah.
Sunday. It gets a little bit of overkill.
You guys should come out to Newman's for the Monday night Bears opener because I'll be bartending and I'm going to have a party.
Nice.
Go out
You
there,
can
then
watch
you can
it
do
out
the
there.
bid, and then we can maybe give some fantasy football tips.
Are you going to be there bartending?
on Monday?
It's a big night,
On
though.
that night, no, this one says no because you can't. I'm not splitting my tips with you. So I'm
Yeah,
not gonna,
you know.
which I respect. I
But
mean,
you should come out. You could play too.
if I'm not working that day,
Yeah, if you're not working.
I'm not working that day.
Yeah.
At the
Tryst.
Tryst Lounge in
Tryst
Marengo.
Lounge in Marengo.
The morning show is taking it on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll be bartending.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
what they're it's being kind of kicked around about us going on the road, but I don't think any bars open up at. Well, there are some that probably open up at that early in the morning.
Redwoods is open at 5. Like,
Yeah, that's where we're just going to hang down there, right, John?
Redwoods.
Yeah, we'll hang down there.
And then before we take our Zoom calls, we're
Hey.
gonna have to fix the.
We could do it at a breakfast place. We can have breakfast and talk football. How about that?
Oh yeah, you guys are in dark. I'm
down.
very clear. You guys are in
we're
the
like
dark.
in the
Yeah,
we're in the
we're
we're in the solar eclipse right now.
We're looking
We're
like
like-
ghosts. We're
On the
looking like
YouTube-
ghosts.
if
Right
you're
now.
on the
Here's
YouTube.
the voices.
Yeah, folks, if you're on the
Follow
YouTube,
my voice.
things look kind of weird. Beyond that, thank you, Dave and
Thank you.
and John for coming in. It's Fantasy Football Blitz Sunday mornings on WRMN all throughout the football season. Dave and John will be taking your calls and giving you advice on what to do. When we come back, it's the Small Business Spotlight here on WRMN. Thanks so much for joining us.